I know you must be convinced by now that sequences are good things and you want to be using sequences. But by explaining all the reasons why you need the sequence, you're learning techniques. There's techniques embedded in here, and you need to understand the principles because then that's how you are able to implement your own techniques and come up with your own variations and tweak it specifically to what you're trying to accomplish. You also realize that there's more options out there. So I really need to make sure that you understand all the benefits of this and why you need to use your sequences. And by seeing some of these, you'll also realize, hey, there's like a technique, even though he's mentioned this as a principle of a reason why to do it, these are also things that you need to build in and design and try to implement with your sequences. Sequences recycle traffic. Obviously, if you don't use them properly, they don't. The purpose of the sequence also is to recycle traffic back to your site. What do I mean by that? You have the sequence. Remember I showed you day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5? Every single one of them emails should have a link back to your website. And if you're using the short style email that was mentioned in the last section of this course, then you're trying to drive them to a web page that gives them more information. Why do you want them on a web page? Well, they're on your website, so there's probably a menu bar where they can click back to your sales letter on all the web pages on your website. There may or may not be Google AdWords, and if they click on those, you get paid. There's all kinds of things on your website that are potentially profitable for you, and I'm saying this because if you don't have those on your website, go put them on your website. So if you keep wondering why Brian keeps saying drive people back to the website, there's opportunities to make money, and then you're thinking, well, on my website there's no opportunities to make money. Well, put them on there. You can put links to affiliate programs. You can do all kinds of stuff. You keep driving people back to your website, and that makes you more money, but obviously you have to have mechanisms in place that earn you money. Well, the basic ones are you sell a product, so the sales letter for that product. Link to that as much as you can on your website. Don't be ridiculous, but do it in a way that makes sense. Google AdWords, I wouldn't put them on my main sales letter that's trying to promote a product because I would make more money off the sale of that product than the AdWords revenue in general would generate for me. You also got to keep it on the main purpose. If you have a sales letter that's promoting a product, you don't put Google AdWords in there because it's distracting people from the main purpose you're trying to get them to participate in. So if you're going for a sign up, you're not really trying to get them to click on Google AdWords because Google AdWords are good. You get paid when someone clicks on them, but they leave your site. They go somewhere else and they get distracted, and then they don't have the impact of being persuaded in the way you were trying to persuade them. So do one thing at a time. Send them to a sales page. The main focus of that page is just to get the sale. If you send them to an opt-in name capture page, the main purpose of that page is just to get them to sign up for your email list. But if you're sending them to articles on your website, maybe you're just giving out a free article and you send an email out in day 5 and said, go read this article. Well, the email could be a short email. It links back to the article. Now on that article page, you might have a link up top that's like a little mini ad for your course that you're selling. And if they click on that, they'll go to the sales page. And maybe you have some Google AdWords ads on that page as well. Because they're reading the article, you really aren't trying to promote anything for them to buy. But if they click on the AdWords ads, you might make some money. That's, I think, a good use of the Google AdWords on a sales letter style website. It's the back end where you have your articles. And in nonchalant places that don't distract from your sales letter message, maybe at the way bottom you might have a little link called articles. And then you have all these articles indexed on your site so that people can read the articles. They can click on the AdWords ads. The main punchline of that sales letter is just get the sale. And maybe underneath the PS and the signature and all that stuff, maybe at the very bottom where you just have kind of like a sitemap menu kind of thing, that might be where you have a link to a page called articles, which has a directory of all the articles on your site. That would be okay because that doesn't really try to get people away from your sales message. It's just an inconspicuous place to put it. But another reason for the sequence is it creates continuous exposure. So people don't forget about you. People keep getting emails in their inbox. So this creates a continuous exposure for you. The more times they hear your name, see your website URL, the more opportunity that they're going to have to remember it. And if they remember it, there's a chance that if they see it, they'll pay attention to it because they remember it. And also they may be able to type it in from memory, and that's powerful too. It creates a continuous exposure. A lot of commercials on TV are effective because you keep seeing them over and over and over and over again. They don't just put one commercial on and blast it out and figure that audience already saw that commercial. No, they brand it by sending it out over and over and over again. And then eventually these things get stuck in your head. There's certain types of commercials that everyone has memorized because they've seen them so many times. You know, there's clever commercials out there like the Geico commercials. I can almost recite every single one of them because they're clever, they're funny, they get my attention. Right now, when I'm watching TV, I see a Geico commercial all the time because they play them over and over and over again. And a lot of the infomercials at night are the same way. You see the same types of infomercials on all the time. Well, it's that continuous exposure that actually gets you used to it. It builds the credibility, but it's just the continuous exposure that keeps it fresh in your mind, and it's like credibility over time. You know, it's just you start believing that it's a real thing. Whether it is or not is indifferent. That continuous exposure, you can get people to memorize stuff and to know you by heart. The next time they're looking for a solution on that topic, they'll go to you as the first solution, and that's a powerful thing to be putting in your favor. Two other reasons for doing a sequence is, it's kind of like the same reasons. Recycling your traffic because you're putting links back to your website. In every single email that goes out, there's no excuse. Put links back to your website. So even if it's just a little article you're sending out, when you sign it, when you say, you know, at the end, sincerely, Brian Campbell, or whatever your signature is, underneath that signature, you should have a link to your website in every single email that goes out. Because if they liked what they read, they can go click to your website and read more. And of course, like if you're sending an email from a certain website, obviously the content on your website is going to be similar. It's related. And you know, when people see that blue link, they're trained to click. So when they see these continuous exposures over and over again, and it's a recycling traffic, that's really the whole reason for using autoresponders, is the fact that you capture the name and you keep sending them back to your website. So one website visitor once becomes like 10 visits in the future, 100 visits in the future, 1,000 visits in the future. So anything you could do to keep them coming back to your website once you have their name, that's better for you, because once they're on that website, that's how you earn the money.